Hi everyone, and welcome to Coach Susan. Let me just introduce myself for those of you that might be first-time listeners. My name is SusanDintino, and every week, every other week, I think I'm going to change it up a little bit for the summer months. I come to this page to talk a little bit about growing your spiritual business, and there's all different topics that I have addressed, and we're already on episode 12. So if you've missed any, I have a YouTube station, and I'll be posting that link so that you can check out the ones that you might have missed. It's certainly something that I feel would benefit you as you're trying to grow your business, regardless of what it is that you do. I personally have been involved in the metaphysical business really full-time since 2004, so much of which I am sharing with you kind of warns you of some of the pitfalls that I've had and the successes that I've had. I am a published author with Hay House. The name of my book is Songs of My Life, Slightly Out of Tune. I also have a meditation CD out there called Butterfly Blessings and a children's book called The Year of Me. And to learn even more about me and who I am, I invite you to visit my website, which is SusanDintino, that's DINTINO.com. So let's get started with today's topic. What we're going to be talking about is creating your own meditation. And what I mean by that is creating a meditation that you would like to have available for sale, or what I find is very beneficial is having it as a giveaway on, like for instance, right now I have one up on the homepage of my website, and I try and change that up enough so that people get a chance to really visit my website and have a free takeaway. So that's what we're going to be talking about and focusing on today. That's creating an MP3 meditation. So we'll begin with probably the most important thing. What is it that you would like to do in your meditation? So for instance, with Butterfly Blessings, and that is the first official meditation that I created, I decided to do a bit of a guided meditation that dealt with color. And what I did is I decided on my topic and what it was that I wanted to do, and then I really looked into how I was going to approach this. And at the time, I was going to be meeting Mark Watson, who is a phenomenal musician. The name of his website is Angel Earth Music, I believe it is .com. But you know what? I'll double check that and make sure that that's available for you. But if you Google Mark Watson meditation music, that will come up. I actually was working with him as I staffed for Doreen Virtue, and at the time we were staffing in Hawaii for an angel therapy practitioner course. And I had told him I was interested in doing this, and he brought his equipment with him, and I actually purchased music from him to accompany my meditation. So one of the things as you're thinking about what it is that you want to do, you really have to decide whether you just want to speak your meditation or whether you want to have music in the background. Now once you decide to have music in the background, that's when it gets a little bit tricky. And we're going to talk about that, but I want to stay on topic. So we're going to stay on the subject matter of what it is that you might want to do in your meditation. Now, right now, I have various meditations on my website. There is a chakra clearing meditation that I have that obviously deals with clearing and balancing the chakras. I don't think I have it up on my website now, but I've done a home blessing meditation where I begin with creating a beautiful love bubble in the center of the house and allowing that to expand. And I find this is really a powerful meditation for when you're having guests over. I love to use it around the holidays, and it's been a holiday gift that I've put on my homepage a few times. So what you have to do is come up with an idea. On my CD, Butterfly Blessings, I also have a short meditation called Invocation of the Archangels. And in that meditation, I have all of the archangels that I really work with, and I call them, for instance, I will say, I call upon Archangel Michael for strength. And there's a bit of a pause. That's a 9-minute meditation, and I love to suggest that for people that are looking to clear their energy, maybe right before doing spiritual work, doing a healing, doing a reading. So those were the topics that I really wanted to address. The Butterfly Blessings is really all about just relaxing, and then going on a bit of a journey where you are accompanied by just a huge amount of beautiful butterflies. I was trying to think of what you would call that, and it wouldn't be a herd. I don't think it's a flock. That's interesting. What would a group of butterflies be called? But anyways, a group of butterflies come to you, and then you select one to assist you on your journey. So that meditation, being my first, was very scripted. I wrote down everything I was going to say. And that's another thing that I would advise for you, especially if you're new to this. And that is to write down what it is you're going to say. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to stick to the script. In other words, read it while you're in meditation. But if this is all new to you, it's very powerful to have these things written down. Now, you might be somebody that can just do it very spontaneously, which is the way I do it now. When I'm doing a meditation now, as a matter of fact, I just did one for the 4th of July for my radio show because I won't be broadcasting live. What I did was I decided what it was I wanted to talk about in my meditation, what the guided meditation was going to be. And in this guided meditation, I decided to assist the listener in creating a meditation room that they could always go to. And this is a visualization, and that is what I did. I took them through the steps to create this room in their mind where whenever they felt they needed to go somewhere and really relax, immediately bring them to a place of serenity and peace, they would go to this. Now, before I started, I had a few ideas how this was going to go, but it's my belief that once I start doing this, it's a very channeled thing. So in other words, I'm getting my information from my higher chakras, from my divine guides, and this is what I'm putting through. But I did not do it this way in the beginning. This is after doing this quite a bit. In the beginning, I wrote a script. I would reread the script, and then once I started doing the meditation, I would remember it enough to be able to do it. So you've decided on what you'd like to do. Do you want really to have a true meaning to what this meditation is going to be all about? That might even help to come up with a title of what it is you'd like to call this meditation. Might give you some insights into what it is that you would like to really use for your listener. The other thing that I would suggest now, you've decided on what it is. Then, as I said a few minutes ago, do you want to have music in your meditation? Do you feel comfortable just speaking and just doing it that way? Well, for me personally, I always like music in the background. If I'm ever listening to a meditation, I have listened to some that are just strictly talking, and it just doesn't work for me. Now, that's a very individual preference. I know there are some people that find music in the background distracting. So it has to be what really resonates with you. Like anything that we do in our spiritual business, we're not only going to our logical brain, we're also going to our divine guidance to come up with some answers as to what's going to help us really make this be effective. So I will tell you, when I use music, and I always do, there's got to be really a good idea as to what you're going to be doing with this meditation. Music has very strong copyrights associated with it. And if I am going to sell my meditation, I have purchased music. And again, I've purchased music from Mark Watson. That's on Invocation of the Archangels. He created that music. And then I had asked him, because we were in Kona, Hawaii at the time, and Butterfly Blessings and Invocation of the Archangels were both recorded there. I had asked him to get some of the sounds of the pounding surf to incorporate into the music, which he did beautifully. So both of those pieces of music I purchased. So I go back to that music often, even though, not strictly using Butterfly Blessings or Invocation of the Archangels. I will use that music because I've purchased it, and I feel confident selling it, that I'm not infringing on anybody's copyright or royalty rights or anything like that. I have friends who have done these types of meditations, and for instance, one of my friends really likes Peter Sterling's work, and it's Sherry Wynn, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with. She's got a wonderful meditation called Angelic Lullaby, and she has Peter Sterling's music in the background. Well, she reached out to Mr. Sterling and got his permission to use his music for her meditation. meditation. So that's an option as well, but you have to be sure that you get the artist's permission to use the meditation in the meditation, especially if you're going to be selling it. You have to be sure that nobody's going to come back to you and accuse you of any kind of infringement on their rights. So big thing to think about. I've used the service as well. It's Ponds, Ponds, and I started a list for you over on my fan page on Facebook. I will enhance on that list. I'll put Mark's information up there as well as this Ponds music that I'm talking about. They have music available that you can purchase, and you get to listen to it a little bit, and it's either in 10-second, 5-second increments. They'll tell you if it's something that can be looped. I have used that as well, and to the best of my understanding, when you purchase a piece of that music, it's royalty free. They give you the license for it, and you can use it in the background of your meditations when you're selling your meditations. So I have done that as well. I have purchased music from Ponds, and I know there's other ones out there. I'm giving you the ones that I'm most familiar with because these are the ones that I've used and have had no issues with. Okay, so you've got your meditation and you know what you're going to talk about, and you've decided whether or not you want music. So you start getting all your information together, and now how do you record? What is it that you do to get that information onto your computer or wherever it is that you're going to be recording to? So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is equipment, and you want to be sure that you have got an earphone mic capability. In other words, you don't want to be using the mic that's included in your computer. It's not going to give you the best quality sound. And when you're doing the meditation, sound quality is imperative. So you want to become familiar with, whether you're on Apple or on a PC, how to adjust the sound. And that is very simple, but I'm not going to get too technical with this because what I would advise is there's a ton of YouTube videos out there that will take you through step by step, technically speaking, how to make sure that you are using whatever equipment you purchase versus the microphone that's included in your computer. Okay, so you'll see, I believe it looks like, and again, I can't turn around to look at my computer, but I think many of you are familiar with how to adjust your sound and the volume and the inputs in your sound. But if you're not, it's something you've got to become familiar with before you start your recording. So if you want to, in the beginning, right now when I'm doing these, I have a freestanding, I have a Yeti freestanding microphone that I use, and then I have a separate pair of earphones, and that's what I use for the most part. Now when I'm here in Buffalo, I don't have that equipment with me, so what I have is I purchased, actually it was for my grandson, and it was I believe it's Sennheiser. It's a combination earphone mic, and I got it for him for gameplay, and it was pretty pricey, over $100, and I gave it to him for Christmas, and he didn't want it. He was very polite, but it was corded, and so I bought him something that was cordless. But for me, I thought, what, I'm going to start using this, and I started using it on my radio show, which I still do, and it worked out great. So it's corded, I plug it in. Now I know there's all price points on these earphone microphone combinations, so I would leave that up to you, because for the most part, they're pretty effective in doing this, because so much of what you're doing is really what's built into your computer. So again, you can certainly make this work, but don't use just talking into the computer without this. You'll get echoing. It'll definitely really work with your sound quality, which is not what you want when you're putting this together. So become familiar, whether you're on an Apple or whether you're on a PC, how to adjust the input of your microphone and your earphones. And it's very easy to figure out. Like I said, I think it looks like a little speaker on the side on a PC, which I'm the most familiar with. I do use Mac once in a while, but most of the time I use a PC. And you just click on that and it'll give you options options, and what you want to do is select the option that's going to have the input come from your microphone and your headset. Okay, so that's what it is you're going to want to do. And you can see as soon as I start getting technical, I'm hedging a little bit because I'm by no means a pro with this. So I would highly advise, as we're proceeding now with the more technical aspects of this, that you really explore it. And it's very easy to find answers to the questions, and it's going to be trial and error. Again, if this is something you've never done before, approach it with like being an explorer, and you're going to be doing some trial and error with it. Now, saying all of this, the first time I did it, I did go the professional route. I had Mark Watson recorded my voice, then mixed the music. So what I'm giving you right now is a cost-effective way to do it. And you can do it relatively inexpensively, especially once you purchase your equipment. Certainly the option of going professional is there if it's more what you would like to do the first time. Reaching out to a local studio, finding where you could go and record, where you'd have a couple different options as to how it comes out. So that is an option as well. Doing it very professionally where you've got somebody else mixing it. So what I am giving you right now is what you could do in person and just really learn how to do it yourself. And I will tell you, and I'm pretty computer savvy, but by no sense an IT tech, I learned how to do this. So it can be very simple to do. So let's just recap a bit. We've decided on our subject. We've decided whether or not we would like music involved. We've put together some kind of a script, and we've come up with a title for our meditation. I think I'm going to stop and pause right now and just look and see what questions might have come up. I just want to remind you, I am not doing readings at all during this. This is not about readings in case you haven't listened before. I do those on my New Moon broadcasts. I do those on my radio show, but this is really about helping you. So please stick to that, and let me just see if there's any questions that have come up yet. Okay, say a couple hellos here as we scroll through. Okay, and hello, Teresa. Serena, hello from Australia. Karen. Okay, let's see. Ruchi, I hope I pronounced that right. Mar, hello, Debbie. Cindy, hey, Cindy. Hey, Bridget. Nice to see you. We'll say hello to Meathead. I love that. And Jennifer, Angela, Karen, April. Let's see. Hello from Maine. Barbara. Okay. Let's just see. Raphael, I believe that is, from Los Angeles. Okay. Karen, no mini readings today. Sorry. Mona, no mini readings. Oh. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm not seeing any questions pertaining to this. Please feel free to post your questions. And for those of you that are asking for readings, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I know often when Facebook Live events are up, that's the expectation. But these are very specifically designed to, again, like I said, be a bit of a coaching session. And this today, just to reintroduce myself, I'm SusanDintino, also known as Coach Susan, because I've really wanted to help each and every one of you to pursue your goal of having a successful spiritual business. So that's what these Facebook Lives are all about. I'm a Hay House author. I do this work. I have a very active website, and for those of you that might be interested in a more detailed reading, I have all price points over on my website, so please feel free to visit that. Okay, so let's get back to the topic, and that is creating your own meditation. So we're talking about the whole idea of the technical aspects of doing this, how we make those technical aspects work. And we talked about the importance of our equipment, having a combination earphone mic setup. Again, using a freestanding microphone and a headset is top quality, but sometimes I find even myself, as you can see from watching me do this, that I tend to talk with my hands and move around. So there's times that doesn't always work. I'm very used to it now. What I would say again is, if this is new to you, I'd stick with a headset mic combination. offering you the option certainly of going professional with this because you want it to be a top quality. Remember that everything that you do, be it a reading, be it a meditation, be it a workshop, everything that you do represents not only you but your business. And I know some people have an issue, not an issue, but they kind of feel weird about calling what we do a business. But it is. I think that many of us are doing this certainly so that the exchange of energy, aka money, stays in balance. It's not something that we can give away 24/7 or we'll get burned out. We have to have that balance. So creating these types of meditations are a reflection of you and what it is that you want to really be out there to represent yourself. So however you feel this is going to be effective. As I mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, using these meditations as a way to pull people into your website is a great tool. You put the meditation on your home page and you give it away. And I'm sure many of you have seen now that when somebody's introducing a new book, getting something new out there that they do, really giving giveaways has become a big way to entice your audience. So it's a great tool for you to use to get people to your website. We're talking now about the technical aspects, making sure you're familiar with your inputs on your computer, whatever it is you're going to be using to record. Okay, so we've talked about all that. Now, how do we do this? How do we get what it is we want to say into an MP3 format? Okay, what I am familiar with is Audacity, and that's Audacity. On my fan page, I put up a link so that you can go there, which takes you very structurally through. It's a wiki how, the way to create a recording on Audacity. Again, keeping in mind what I said earlier, it is going to be a bit of a trial and error thing, but I can promise you the quality and everything that you're looking for, you can learn how to do in Audacity. I have Audacity not only on my PCs, but also on my Apple computers. It is available for both. So there's a way to mix your music, there's a way to mix tracks, and although, again, it sounds very wow if you've never done it before, with trial and error, I'm really assuring you, it's a very simple way to do it. You export it to an MP3, and then if you want to create a CD, you can take your MP3, burn a CD. There's still some people out there that like that hard copy, and you can do it. But everything that you need to create an MP3, you can do with an Audacity download. So using that software, and the last time that I checked, and I believe it's still like this, it was free. It's a free download, and they take you through step by step how to do it. And then once it comes up, and again, if you check out that wiki how link, it'll show you everything as how to really do this and everything that you need to know. So you really, for me, what I'll do, you can edit in there and everything else. I will just begin to record. Okay, so I've decided on my subject. I have my music. If you pull your music in, and I'm trying, the word will come to me, and not import. Yes, you will import your music into Audacity. Again, it's very simple to do. It's a point and click. What I like to do is begin bringing my music in. And there's all different things you can do with your music once it's in there. You can fade it in, fade it out. You can make it repeat so that, say, for instance, you've got a piece of music that's 5 minutes long and you want to have something that's going to be 15 minutes long. There's process, I can't remember exactly the tab, but again, I didn't want to get super technical with this because for me, teaching this kind of thing is almost like teaching accounting. So much of what I do each time I go there, to be honest, is trial and error because I always want to be sure it's correct. So I'm always fine-tuning it. So I'd prefer you look to an expert like WikiHow that'll really describe to you how to do it. Also, when I was researching this, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there as well that will tell you exactly how to do this. So what I like to do, the first thing is to bring my music in, tweak it however it needs to be tweaked. I usually begin using the fade in, so my music is fading in, and then I begin my meditation. In all honesty now, when I do it, I'll have a subject, but I close my eyes and I go into the meditation. And if I find that somewhere along the meditation I've made a little bit of mistake, what I'll do is just pause a moment, and then I'll repeat what I was going to say, because there is a way that you can cut out pieces. And I know I'm getting so technical for those of you that have never done this, but please don't be overwhelmed. It's a lot easier than it sounds. But there is a way to edit what you say. So I'll leave enough space so if I want to cut something out, I can do it and seamlessly put it back together. So I really go into the meditation myself, and much of which I thought I was going to say will be changed. I might do more than I expected to do. Sometimes my divine beings of light will be coming through to me saying things that I had no idea I was going to say. So I very much go with it. I have a general idea of how long it's going to be, but for the most part, I go with the flow, as they say, and I just allow it to come. I have the music playing in the background. That's why I bring the music in first. And you can have your music playing. You're listening to it on your earphones while you're talking. So your verbal agrees with what the music's doing. And one thing I want to say, because I've made this mistake before, make sure you have your phone off the hook. Make sure your cell phone's off so you're not in the middle of all this work and all of a sudden your phone rings and just throws everything. So make sure you're someplace where you won't want to be disturbed. And that's another thing. Prior to my meditations, for the most part, I will remind people that these are not to be done when they're driving a car or operating heavy equipment. Meditations are something that should be done in a way and in a time where they won't be disturbed. So I always put that little caveat in the beginning of my meditations, just to remind people what the reason is for these, because sometimes people don't really realize that, and depending on how deep people go in meditation, it can definitely be a bit hypnotic. So you want to make sure that people realize this isn't something that they should be doing when they're multitasking. So just a reminder to put that in the beginning. And then, again, allow this whole thing to go, and then whenever you feel it's done, you let it go, and okay, end it in whatever way you want. I usually say something like namaste at the end. I slowly will bring the person out of the meditation. And you know what? Let's talk about this briefly, the way I approach it. When I am doing a meditation, the first thing I do, again, if it's a record or whatever, a recording, I will put that little caveat in right in the beginning. And then I'll get into the portion of the meditation where they're being guided. I always begin with some type of relaxation. Sometimes I'll be very detailed and literally relax every part of their body. Other times I might do it in a little bit of a quicker fashion where I'm still relaxing them, but not being so specific how. Now, how do I decide that? It's based on what the meditation is about. For instance, right now I have a meditation out called Sweet Dreams, and it's to assist people in falling asleep. And what I'll do, and what I did in that meditation, is I was very thorough in relaxing the body, because that's what falling asleep is all about, being totally relaxed, body and mind, right? So I really focused that. Now, on this last meditation I just did, where I was creating this meditation room, I didn't get too much into the relaxation. As we were creating our room, I used a stairway effect, and I relaxed them as we walked down the stairway to this whole room that we were creating. If this is something that is calling you to do, really listen to guided meditations and how they're done, because that'll definitely assist you in what it is that you want to do. So then I relax either really extremely or relax in a general way, and then I get into what this meditation is all about. I have a meditation technique out that I have really trademarked. It's called empowering meditation, and that whole idea actually came to me during meditation. And when I'm doing that technique of meditation, it's really very specific. And basically what it is, empowering, is a three-sided attack, so to speak, to creating something you'd like to bring into your life, or to really do a limiting belief. So change a limiting belief. And what we do with that is we begin by writing, creating an affirmation, and then we go into a guided meditation. So it's a very specific goal in empowering meditation. And I'm focusing on that goal. And I do it individually. All the details of that are on my website. I've actually taught workshops on this in Lilydale, and it's been very interesting, the different approaches and different comments I've had. But again, the reason I'm mentioning it right now is because that has a very specific goal. And so you have to decide what is the goal of your meditation. So then, based on that, will be like the meat and potatoes of my meditation. Then at the end, you want to make sure that you're very gradually bringing the listener out of the meditation. Okay, so what I mean by that is, again, gently reminding them to be aware of where they're sitting, okay, so they can start feeling the contact. And again, I know I'm jumping all around, but all of these things are coming to me as I'm talking about this. When you begin the meditation, assume this person may not have ever meditated before. So what you might want to do is just suggest to them how to sit, and that there's no wrong way to sit and there's no wrong way to meditate. So what you might want to say is they can sit in a straight back chair, nothing folded, arms. I always like to recommend palms facing up so that they're in a receptive mode. You can recommend the lotus position with the knees crossed, again, palms facing up. There are some people that like to lie down when they meditate. There's nothing wrong with that. The only caveat I have with that is that sometimes people can fall asleep. But I feel like with the subconscious aspect of it, that could be okay, because I think you're still getting exactly what it is that you need. I also remind people that if their minds are going to wander, that's okay. But I give them a tool to bring it back, and that is dependent on whether I'm using a mantra in the meditation. Again, going back to empowering meditation, we have 2 mantras that we use throughout that process. So I'll remind them to come back to one of those mantras. If they're using just a general form of meditation, I'll remind them to come back to the breath. The breath is always a great way to get them to refocus and bring them back to the sound of your voice and what it is that you're doing. Because these meditations that you are doing are guided meditations for the most part. There's a goal that you have in mind that you want your listener to attain, so you're really leading them down a specific path. After all of that, and again, I know we're kind of getting all of this information here and there, but then, as I said, you gradually bring them out of the meditation. And depending on your music and depending on what it is that you do, you can invite your listener to maybe stay in the meditation longer. If they'd like to pause it and maybe stay where they are, you can certainly offer them that option. Remember, this is a creative endeavor. As you can see just from my Facebook Live, in many ways I consider this a creative endeavor. It's going to change a bit. Each time you do it, it'll change a bit. And that's okay, because you're learning, you're processing, you're deciding what's going to be best for the person that's listening to it. So don't hold yourself to any specific rules. You've got the generalities together. That's what's important. The rest is creative and up to whatever it is that you would like to do. So again, gradually bringing them out. I always remind them, once we get to the point, I have them bringing physical sensation back into their body, wiggling their fingers and their toes. And then I always remind them that even though their eyes are gradually open, that they're going to stay in this relaxed state. So you're giving them a beautiful takeaway of serenity when your meditation is done. Now, we have just recorded this entire thing on your Audacity, okay, because that's what we're talking about right now, using that software. So your meditation is done. And at the end, what you do is you listen to it. And sometimes that can be a challenge, listening to yourself and thinking you shoulda, coulda, woulda. But I have really learned to kind of just remove myself, first of all, from getting used to the sound of my own voice and just really being very specific on what I'm looking for. And sometimes I find that even if I make a little bit of a misstep in the meditation, sometimes when it's not perfect, it draws the listener back in with almost a, so I mean, don't be overly perfectionist when you're listening to this. But just listen and make sure, like, was there background noise you didn't expect to be in there? Is something not clear? You might have to redo it more than once, and that's certainly okay. So again, going to Audacity, what they'll invite you to do is they'll say, you know, you're going to save it now. If you save it as an Audacity project, you can only open it in Audacity, and you don't want to do that. You want to save it as an MP3. So that option will come up. They'll ask you if you want to, and again, here it comes with not using specific terms, but they're going to ask you if you want to combine your tracks, and you say yes, and voila, you have an MP3 with which you can do whatever you'd like, you know, using that. Now, I haven't discussed GarageBand because I'm not familiar with it, and I know there's people that love that. That is available on Macs. I took a class in GarageBand, and it just seemed to me like I was going to have to learn too much, and I also tried using it. Now, that's me. Those of you that are familiar with it, you know, I've heard it's fantastic. I've heard it's easy. I just could never get it. So I'm not going to talk about it because what I'm talking about now is what I have used, okay? So once you have your MP3, there is a bunch of things you can do. Honestly, I don't have the expertise to put the MP3s up on my website. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to my web guy. I'll ask him if I'm putting one on the home page to put it up on the home page as a free download. If I'm selling the meditation, I will also use that opportunity for my web person to put it up on my products page. You can also, if you want to offer it as a CD, you can burn it very easy with so many different software programs to take your MP3, burn it on a CD. There might be some of your listeners that would prefer to have it in that format. I can honestly say I can't remember the last time I got a request for a CD, but you can use it, and that's certainly an option. So you've got everything together. Powerful tool for you in this business. So I'm going to just check again and see what questions that we have. Oh, Cindy, okay. Cindy's actually got two, so we'll address both of them. What do you suggest is the best length of time for an MP3 meditation? And okay, so we'll get to that question first. I think really it has to do with you. I usually find between 15 and 20 minutes when I'm doing a guided meditation works. So I usually stick to around that time. However, I don't designate a time and have a stopwatch go off or anything like that. I have just found that in my mind that's what I'm saying, but however long it goes, I would say for the most part, I don't think I try and go much longer than 20 minutes. You can also do something if you want to do just a simple relaxation meditation. You can also do something as short as 10 minutes. As I said, Invocation of the Archangels is only 9 minutes long, and I've had people that have listened to it find it very powerful. They love to start their day with it, and they don't have 20 minutes to sit in meditation. So I think it's not a bad idea to have a short meditation that maybe you can promote yourself with, and then maybe a more lengthy one as you get out there. But for me personally, I would say a minimum of 10 minutes. Right now, a maximum of 20. Nothing to say that's written in stone, but certainly something that I would consider. Okay, let's see what your second question. Do you think the standalone microphone picks up more background noise? Okay, no, because there's all adjustments that you can use on your microphone so that it does not do that. Now, I think that probably for sound quality now, from my own experience using both, in the beginning I felt like standalone microphone was the way to go. But since I've done both, I've not seen a difference between the standalone microphone and the headset. So it's funny because now that I'm back in Buffalo and don't have all my equipment with me, I'm kind of leaning more towards the microphone combination, only because for me, with the way I talk with my hands, I don't have to feel like I have to sit that still. Also with the standalone, there's a little bit of being too close, too far. It's really an art. I learned how to do it on my last radio show, so I really feel that I'm good with it. But again, if you're new at it, I'd strongly suggest sticking with the mic earphone combination. So thank you, Cindy. Those are good questions. Let me see what else, if I've missed anything here. Hey, Doug. Hi, Kimberly. Cindy, how do I decide on topics? I'm really just kind of going with the flow as far as topics go. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear your suggestions. I know there's been people that have asked about book publishing, and I'm thinking that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to come back in 2 weeks. So not next week live, but the week after. So probably going to a 2 weeks. So if today's the 1st, that would be probably the 14th, I believe. But I'll double check that, but I'll be back. I'm definitely looking from input from everybody out there that's listening, what it is that you would like to know a little bit more about. So I'm really going, I believe somebody asked about these guided meditation MP3s, and it's exactly why I decided to do it. So if there's something else you'd like to talk about or hear more about, please just let me know. One of the things I wanted to tell you too is we're talking about guided meditations, and I've talked about this, I know on my radio show, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on these Facebook Live broadcasts. There is a app available. It's called Insight Timer, and it's available on either iPads, iPhones. I believe there's Androids as well. Again, I'm going to my own experience. I got introduced to that because I was looking for a timer for meditations and my own, when I was in my own, doing my own meditations. Most of the time when I meditate, which is pretty much every day, I don't do a guided meditation unless it's something like to help me fall asleep, which I will use on a pretty regular basis. But when I'm just meditating, I like to have a timer for 20 minutes. So I was exploring the web and I found this app, and I'll tell you, I absolutely love it. It's called Insight Timer. There's timers on there. And again, speaking about your meditations, there are people that like to begin their meditations with some kind of a sound. If you've listened to any of the Deepak Chopra, Oprah meditations, that they do these 21-day meditation challenges, Deepak always begins the meditation with a bell. So that's certainly something you can do. Have a beginning bell and an ending bell. To me, doing a guided meditation, I don't really feel the necessity for it, but I have listened to guided meditations where they do utilize that. But getting back to Insight Timer, what I like about that is that there's guided meditations, you've got your timer. Now this is all for personal use, but the other thing about this is that you can actually upload your own meditations. And what you do is, and again, it's very simple, you've created your MP3, they have a website you can go to on the PC, and you go to the website on the PC and they will give you very specific instructions how to upload your own meditation. Then what happens is you upload your meditation and it has to be approved. So they listen to it and they'll approve it and they let you know. And that can sometimes be a lengthy process. So if you decide to do this, don't be concerned if you don't hear from them. They're very responsive, and if they get a lot, they'll tell you they've had a lot and they listen. I actually have 2 meditations up there, and I'll tell you, it was really beneficial. The first meditation I put up there was Sweet Dreams, and it was my meditation, as I was describing before, to help you sleep. So I put it up there. Now, what you don't stop to think about is people can review your meditations, right? So, there were some people that loved it, but then I started getting really some, and I'm going to use this word, scathing reviews, because people did not like the music. And of course, if you want, you have the option to delete the reviews, but I would never do that in a million years because I don't think that's of integrity. I learned so much from those reviews. What I ended up doing was I took the meditation down and I changed the music. I put the meditation back up, and since then I haven't got less than, I think, 4 stars. Now I'm still trying to build my stars up there because there were so many negative reviews in the beginning. But I'll tell you, it was great. Like some of the comments were that I spoke too fast, so I learned to slow my voice down a bit. Now I've uploaded a second meditation a few months ago called Awakening the Heart Chakra. And if you would like to hear that meditation, that's the one that I'm giving away right now on the home page of my website, so you can download it for free. But I uploaded that one. Well, I had learned so much from my reviews that one now is almost at 5 stars, and that would be 5 out of 5. It's 4.5. point A. But that was such a beneficial tool to learn of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and some things. So you got to be open to that kind of thing. I'm not going to deny that it was a challenge in the beginning, but it really does give you insight into how it is that you're doing. When I was really listening to guided meditations, the ones that I were listening to did speak kind of quickly. But as I listened to more meditations on that app, I found that people would pause and give people time to maybe answer whatever question might be coming up in the meditation. I do a very powerful meditation called Meet Your Guardian Angels, and I'm just revamping that to put that up on my website. But I think, again, you know, you're telling these people as you're going through this guided meditation to hear what your angels have to say, and then you're not pausing long enough to give them a chance to listen. So I learned so much from doing that. And as I said, right after we get done with this broadcast, I'm going to go back on my fan page and I'm going to put everything up there that we've talked about today. So this was very much, I knew, going to be the type of coaching session where it was going to be very fluid and very organic, that much of what I was going to say was going to come up as we were talking. That's why I didn't put more of these links up, because I wanted to really be as clear as I could, and again, without being scripted, because so much of what I've learned has been spontaneous, and I wanted it to be that way for you as we're talking about it. So let's see. Okay. Hey, Bridget and Doug are both here. Let's just see what other questions we have. Hey, Sherry. I mentioned you a little bit ago, Sherry. You're wonderful guided meditation, angelic blessings. So I'm sorry, angelic lullaby. Wonderful meditation, guided meditation for children. And I know many of you know our good friend, Sherry. So I looked through, I'm not seeing, I hope I didn't miss any questions. For those of you that might be tuning in, you have a few more minutes if you want to post a question. Just a reminder again, I'm not doing readings. I will be uploading this onto the YouTube station. So if you haven't heard any of these past, again, this is episode 12. If you haven't heard any of the past, we've talked about everything from angel parties to radio shows, question and answer things, many valuable, I've learned doing this, let me tell you, many valuable lessons along the way. So as I said, I think in 2 weeks we're going to be talking about creating your own book, really getting your word out there if you're more interested in the written word versus getting involved with MP3s and things like this. However, to me, the more tools you have in your arsenal, the better, because it certainly helps you to get your name out there and doing what it is that you love to do. So one more check around. Hey, Mary Jane. And Barbara, you are more than welcome. Okay, Cindy, if you load it to Insight Timer, yes, Cindy. If you load it to Insight Timer, do you still own the rights? Yes, you do still own the rights to the meditation. Insight Timer is just a tool for people to learn to meditate. And there's some really big names on there as far as that have got, I'm almost positive Eckhart Tolle is there. There's some really, you know, it's really an honor to be there, you know, to get accepted and to be on there. But they're great people. Like I said, they're, you know, I've had a couple questions. I've reached out to them. And if you go to insighttimer.com on your PC, you can read up all about it and get all the information. So again, everything that we've spoken about today are things that I have my own personal experience with. Certainly if there's other apps out there besides Audacity, other tools that you can use, I invite you to explore it and to look into it. What I've really attempted to do here is to give you an overview of ways that you can bring your meditations to the public and to help with your spiritual business. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, for your hellos. Hello right back. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. And I'm wishing you a fantastic weekend. Thank you for joining me. I will be back live here in 2 weeks. Please post and let me know what other topics you would like to see covered. If you have any questions, I always give an opportunity, that'll be coming up in a few weeks, to really address questions. But let's get one more topic in before we get to a Q&A anytime. And it's my pleasure to be here. And I'm so glad that anything that I have talked about in these sessions have assisted you in any way, because that's my goal. So have a great weekend. And remember that I am on the air with my radio show every Tuesday live. And I do mini readings. And that is coming up on Tuesday, 7 p.m. on W4CY.com radio. 7 p.m. Eastern time, that is. And again, all this information is on my Facebook page. Next full moon, I'll be coming to you with what's going on with that energy. Also Facebook Live, where I do mini readings. So until we meet again, you have a wonderful weekend, and thanks again for joining me. Bye-bye now.